All right, so we're going to move on to typing a hyperlink. And a hyperlink is something that appears that if you decide to click on it, it is going to actually take you to that desired location. There's a lot of neat things we can hyperlink, but for right now, we're going to work on an email address. All right, so we have this all typed out here, and we're going to add a sentence with an email address. So we're going to put one space, not two, and just to review, we have our paragraph turned on so we can see that there is one space there. And we're going to type, if you have any questions not covered in the brochures, please contact me at water@portland.cengage.com. Period. And as soon as I hit the space, it automatically is going to highlight this blue. And what this means is this is a hyperlink. See, if I hover over this, it's going to say, if I hit Control and click, it's going to actually open whatever program I have using my emails, and an email will be sent to there. That's awesome for emails and things like that, but that's not going to be really helpful for our beautiful letter memo here. We want to make sure that this looks really clean, and this just looks a little bit messy. So to remove a hyperlink, you're going to actually go to the shortcut menu, which is done by a right click. So I'm just going to right click. There we go. And this is our shortcut menu. So we've got a lot of options here. And my favorite thing is it's very clear. Remove hyperlink. Nice and easy. This is a lot of great things we're going to go over later, but for right now, we're just going to click Remove Hyperlink. And notice it turns back to our nice, easy, very clean font. So that's what we're going to do in there. Again, we're looking at our books here. We have the sentence that you need to type. And again, if you are somebody who reads and does much better reading instructions rather than listening and watching, this goes through everything I just said. So go ahead and pause the video and be sure to click the save button. We already have it on auto save, but it never hurts to click that save button just to get in that habit. So now we're going to look at the undoing and redoing of adding some words. So as it says in the books, this guy that's having us write this letter, he decides he does not like the word sustainability. He would actually prefer us to use the word water conservation. So they actually talk about a couple different shortcuts in the book. This depends on where you're most comfortable. If you're able to use your keyboard for a lot of this minimizes the time you're moving between your hand and the mouse. So on your keyboard is this very handy button called Control. And Control allows you to move a little quicker. So if you watch my cursor, I'm at the very end of the paragraph, and I'm going to click the up arrow on my keyboard to go up to that first line because we're going to sustainability. Now I could just use the arrow and move over, and notice I'm just moving letter by letter. That takes a long time. If I hold down the Control button and press the arrow key again, notice I'm jumping by words now, and that allows me to move a little bit quicker. So we're going to get to the very front of sustainability, and here's another great shortcut. If I hold Control Delete, it gets rid of that word and allows me to type in water conservation. I think I spelled that wrong. We'll find out. Oh, I spelled it right. So that's how it takes care of that. So that's a nice little keyboard shortcut. And then if you hit Control End, it brings you right back down to where you were originally typing at the very end of your paragraph. Now, if David, this gentleman, gets back to me and says, you know what? Nah, I think I'd like to keep the word sustainability in there. Instead of having to go through those steps again, there's a couple different things we can do. One, we could click the undo button up here in the left corner. As long as I hover over that, notice what it says underneath. It gives us another great option with our Control button, and that's Control Z. This is my favorite keyboard shortcut. I probably use this more than anything, is the Control Z. This allows you to undo. So I'm going to show you the undo just by clicking undo. Notice we got rid of the word there, and we're going to have to hit it a second time because we deleted a word. So we would hit it twice. And notice we now have sustainability back where we had it before. Now he decided, because he's apparently deciding he's changing his mind quite a bit, we would actually like water conservation. So all we'll have to do is you'll notice that this now has become a redo button. So I like the arrows because they look like going backward and then going forward. Again, if I hover over on this, it gives me another keyboard shortcut, which is Control Y. There's a lot of keyboard shortcuts that you can use. If you're not comfortable using them, please use the mouse, use your keys, use whatever is more helpful for you to navigate, but try to practice these keyboard shortcuts as they do make this much faster. So I'm going to go ahead and click this twice forward, and then we have back to our water conservation. Again, clicking Control End on my keyboard takes me right back where I was before. Now, it talks about in the book that there is a little bit of auto-correcting that can happen with Word. And let's get to that part right here. So it does talk a little bit about those keyboard shortcuts, but I want to talk a little bit more about correcting errors as you type. Word does have an autocorrect, and I have done this so many times right here where it says ADN instead of and. It will correct that. It's not always going to catch it. So it is still really important you proofread, but if you're a quick typer and you're sometimes missing those, it will autocorrect those for you from time to time. Just be aware. My favorite error to actually show, I'm going to hit enter twice so I'm not in our paragraph, so you can just kind of see. See what happens if I hit enter? My hyperlink came back, so I just right click, remove it. So one of my words I use a lot is reset. So if I type in reset, but I forget the other T, it's rest. And that's a word that is correct. Even though I meant reset, I have the word rest. Now, if I hit space, you'll notice one of the autocorrects is it autocorrected it to a capital R because it's at the beginning of a sentence. So that's a great example of autocorrect. It is a good habit to get in proofreading your papers, but if you miss something, Word has your back. So I'm actually going to type this next sentence just as I have it in the book, and you're going to watch some autocorrecting happen. In particular, so I'm going to start in your phone. So notice how it automatically put the IN, capital is my IN for me. My phone message, you asked me to include maps of TEH. Notice how I auto changed it to the city reservoir. Oh wow, they spelled that fun. They are not back from the printer yet, but I will send them as soon as they are actually ready. All right, there's quite a bit in here. As you can see, we have some red underlines, we have some blue, and this gives us a clue as to what this is. So the blue lines right here, if you right click, it'll tell me grammar. I'm using a word choice. I'm using the wrong your. So the blues are usually grammatical rather than spelling. So I would just click on this and it will change it for me. The red down here, if I right click on that, it tells me exactly what's happening. I need to delete that repeated word. Super nice and easy. Then I right click on my very obvious spelling error and it gives me some options. And reservoir, it gives me the definitions of those words if available. We're going for reservoirs. And then this down here is going to give you a little bit of a word choice. So again, if I right click, it's telling me I could use more concise language for my reader. Don't need the word actually in there. Again, this may come down to personal preference. I like to see what word has to say and then I make the decision. In this case, I would agree. I don't need actually. That's a little bit more casual. So I'm going to go ahead and select ready. And just like that, it took care of that nice, easy paragraph for me. It looks good. I'm confident my spelling is correct. My word choice is correct because I have none of those nice little wavy lines underneath. All right, so that's it for part 2. We're going to move on to part 3. So if you need to take a quick break, this will be a great time to do so as this is the end of our second movie.